Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something I know is on so many of your minds right now. We're unpacking a complete, start-to-finish 2026 YouTube Creator Masterclass. You know, taking all that scattered advice out there, from scripting secrets and niche selection to advanced open-source editing, and distilling it into one single, seriously powerful playbook. We're going to walk through the exact steps you need to hit publish.
So, want to start a YouTube channel? Be honest with yourself. It's a thought most of us have had, but we usually just stop right there. Well, in the world of content creation, top creators use this brilliant scripting framework to grab audiences instantly. It's called hook, shock, validate, and tease. And you start that off by hooking the viewer with a direct question that hits on a specific desire, just like asking someone if they want to start a channel. Next up comes the validation, and then the shock. Look, the struggle of starting a channel is incredibly daunting. We all worry about the algorithm, the crazy expensive gear, the endless hours of editing. But here is the shocker. You can build a totally pro-level channel today using 100% free tools and AI. Seriously, no catch. By the end of this explainer, we'll uncover the exact end-to-end pipeline to do just that, without spending a single dime on software.
All right, so here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll find your niche. Second, scripting videos with AI. Third, we'll choose your editing software. And fourth, the pro editing workflow.
Okay, let's jump straight into section 1. Find your YouTube niche, ideas to execution.
This is the ideation phase, folks. This is where we defeat that big, scary algorithm monster before we even hit record. Because you can't just guess what people want to watch, you need a system. According to real-time insights from vidIQ, evaluating a niche before you commit really comes down to a few key areas. First up is audience demand. Like, are people actually searching for this? Then monetization potential. Can brands advertise against it? You've also got to weigh the competition level and content longevity. Basically, are you making evergreen content that pulls in views for years, or trending stuff that kind of dies out in a week? Finally, combine all of that with your own expertise and passion. Oh, and definitely don't forget shorts. Short-form content is an absolute massive driver for channel growth right now.
Moving right along to section 2, scripting videos with AI, prompting for retention.
So once you've nailed down your niche, we move right into pre-production. And this is where tools like ChatGPT and AI voice generators step in and shine. See, ChatGPT isn't just a basic chatbot. When you give it the right prompt, it acts as your ultimate scriptwriting co-pilot. But AI is really only as great as the structure you give it. That's where the viral script formula comes in. You prompt it to write a 3 to 15-second hook to grab attention, followed by a 15 to 30-second intro that sets up this irresistible open loop. From there, you move into the body where the real meaty value is, build up to a climax, and finish it off with a call to action. But here is the absolute key for that call to action. Keep it to 10 seconds max, literally just one sentence. Tell them to watch the next video popping up and get out. That is how you maximize watch time and view duration.
Think about those all-important first 15 seconds for a second. A generic hook like, "Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, my name's is," well, it's terrible. It kills retention immediately because viewers are super impatient. Instead, prompting your AI to write a controversy hook, something like, "Here's what they don't tell you about," is incredibly effective. As humans, we're naturally drawn to information gaps and emotional responses. It opens a loop immediately, and we just have to stick around to close it.
All right, let's get into section 3. Choose your editing software, the open source showdown.
With our script in hand, it is time to set up the studio. Now, Adobe Premiere Pro, that's going to cost you around $275 a year, and DaVinci Resolve locks their best AI and HDR features behind a $295 paywall. But here's the secret. You don't need to pay hundreds of dollars. Open source software has completely closed the gap, free of annoying watermarks or feature locks. Just look at the options. For absolute beginners, OpenShot gets you editing in minutes. If you want a highly active cross-platform tool, Shotcut is fantastic. Now, if you're leaving Premiere Pro and want that exact same professional multi-track interface, Kdenlive is unmatched. For high-end visual effects and 3D compositing, Blender is literally used in Hollywood. And hey, if you're a Linux purist, PitaV integrates perfectly with your Genome desktop.
And when you're looking at free tools, active development is absolutely crucial. You want to make sure you aren't downloading some sort of abandonware that hasn't seen an update since 2015, right? Well, interestingly enough, Shotcut currently has a massive 13,900 GitHub stars. A community backing this large proves that updates are constant and bugs are being squashed weekly. It's the real deal. And having that community support builds right into professional workflows through techniques like proxy editing. Because let's face it, if you shoot your video in 4K, an older computer is just going to stutter and freeze while you try to edit. It's a nightmare. But editors like Kdenlive use proxy editing to create these low-resolution copies of your video specifically for the editing phase so your laptop runs buttery smooth. Then, when you finally hit export, it magically swaps those full-resolution 4K files back in. It is an absolute game changer for editing heavy files on a more modest setup.
Which brings us to Section 4, the Pro Editing Workflow 10 Steps in CapCut.
Okay, we've got our software, now we actually build the video. CapCut's desktop app has become incredibly popular lately as a beginner-friendly powerhouse. But honestly, no matter what software you're using, editing is a lot like building a house. You don't go picking out the living room curtains before you pour the concrete, right? The process flows through 4 logical phases. Phase 1 is the foundation, where you import and lay out your clips chronologically. Phase 2 is utilities, fixing up your color and sound. Phase 3 is sweeping the dust, where you relentlessly cut out the fluff. And Phase 4 is interior design, adding all your B-roll, effects, and music.
Drilling into that utilities phase for a second, there is a very specific reason we fix basic color and audio before cutting the clips into a bunch of tiny pieces. Think about it. If you'd chop your video into 50 smaller clips first, you'd have to color correct 50 separate times. No thanks. So, while it's still just one big clip, this is exactly where you'd apply a basic Rec 709 LUT to normalize your colors, adjust your exposure, and let the software automatically normalize the loudness and reduce background noise. Fix the big block once, then make your cuts.
And that brings us right to sweeping the dust, or cutting the fluff, which simply means splitting your clips and deleting all the pauses, the mistakes, and frankly, the boring sections. Unless you are absolutely flawless on camera, you have to be totally merciless with your cuts here. Dead air kills audience retention faster than anything else. You really want to compress your talking down to only the absolute essentials.
Now, the trick to doing this lightning fast, keep your hands on the keyboard. Constantly reaching for the mouse wastes so much time. Memorize this. Command or Control+B splits the clip, hitting Q deletes everything to the left of your playhead, and hitting W deletes everything to the right. Mastering Q and W will literally cut your editing time in half. Once you get the hang of it, it's amazingly fast.
Next up is the interior design phase, and that means utilizing B-roll. This is basically visually diverse footage that covers up the talking head to break visual patterns. Think about top creators out there like Marquez Brownlee or Ryan Trahan. Even if they're just talking about a camera or walking down the street, they constantly cover their face with beautiful B-roll to keep your eyes glued to the screen. Visual stimulation is absolutely key here.
For those using CapCut to apply transitions to that B-roll, there's actually a super neat workaround to a really common frustration. If you drag a transition onto a clip that's on a higher layer, the magnetic timeline will often snap everything out of place and totally ruin your audio sync. The fix for this is surprisingly simple. Just turn off the track magnet setting first. Then, you can easily drop dynamic transitions like a pull-in zoom or a glare flash right between your main footage and your B-roll for an incredibly smooth professional look.
We finish off our interior design phase with sound because audio is truly 50% of the viewing experience. You can grab free, copyright-safe music straight from the YouTube audio library. From there, it's all about layering, dropping in whoosh sound effects every time text appears on screen, and maybe a riser sound effect right before transition hits. And here's a really neat trick the pros use. Adjust your background music to around -20 decibels. This ensures it sets the right mood without ever overpowering your voice. Finally, you wrap the whole shebang up with a QA watch, just a full playback looking for any silly typos or weird audio spikes.
And just like that, we've reached the end of our masterclass. You now have the niche framework, the AI scripting pipeline, the open source tools, and the pro editing workflow. All of it is completely free and all of it is available to you right now. You are totally empowered to go conquer the algorithm and start making some incredible content. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. You have the pipeline, the tools, and the workflow. What will you create today? Get out there and start building. Thanks so much for exploring this explainer with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.